Knowledge for Men, episode 32.
Welcome to KnowledgeForMen.com, where boys turn into men, where men turn into leaders, into lions, the ferocious few who stand strong, a place where you grow to become the man you were born to be. It's time to take massive action towards the life you want. Get the health, get the relationships, business, and career you've always dreamed of. Achieve a level of success and happiness that you've been searching for so many years. Life has given you enough, and it's time to take a stand and take full control of your life. Stand with us as we interview the most inspiring and successful leaders to give you real-world advice to crush life and awaken the sleeping giant inside of you.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Basically, it's everything you need to create an exceptional website. It's an all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website, blog, e-commerce store, or even online portfolio. For a free 14-day trial and 10% off your first purchase, go to squarespace.com and use offer code KNOWLEDGE. It's a really great platform for anyone getting started or looking to switch over to something easy to use with a great design. Again, that's offer code KNOWLEDGE for a free 14-day trial and 10% off. All right, guys, welcome to the show. This is your host, Andrew Ferry, and today's episode is going to be about happiness and living a well-balanced lifestyle. All right, and how to get rid of that little guy inside of your head that tells you that you can't do something. Today's going to be a great episode. I'm here with our guest, Matthew Ferry. He has an unorthodox approach to happiness and peace on one's journey to living a successful life. He's been featured on NBC, ABC, CBS, and CNN. He's a life coach to the ultra successful, and he teaches how to live your life with balance and harmony. Matthew, I'm happy to have you on the show.
Oh, Andrew, thank you so much for having me here. I'm very excited to be here and share with your audience.
Let's go right in to your favorite success quote and why.
Favorite success quote for me is that success is a series of well-managed breakdowns. And the reason that that's my favorite success quote, it's one that I have sort of coined, is that most people think that success is going to be this incredible place that they arrive at. And the truth of the matter is, a very successful person is really someone who can manage a tremendous amount of details, lots of things going wrong, lots of breakdowns, lots of chaos, lots of destruction, and actually keep all of that together in an effective and long-term way and do it in such a way that it isn't degrading to them. So success is really just a series of well-managed breakdowns. When we keep that in mind, it's so much easier to go through all of the nastiness it takes to get to success.
And just as they say, how do you climb a mountain? You take the first step. That's it. Break it down into small little goals that you can do over a sustained period of time, and little by little, you'll get to the top.
That's it.
All right, Matthew, let's get jump started in with your story. How did you get started with what you do?
My journey is pretty simple. I was a musician, songwriter, music producer who failed early. So I had some success when I was in my teens, got a record deal, was putting my album together, and all of my insecurities and all of the things that just don't work about me as a person got in the way. And ultimately, I got fired by my record label, which sent me into a tailspin. And right then, my father, who is a long time world-renowned real estate sales trainer, said, "Why don't you come and work for me?" I didn't even know what sales training was. I didn't know what I was a young 18-year-old musician. I had no clue about any of that stuff. And he said, "Come work for me. Come work in sales, and let's pick you up out of this." So I started to learn about sales, and it was at that time that he began to introduce me to all of his mentors. And my father mentored under people like Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale began really the entire revolution of personal development, sold the very first best-selling record back then, an actual vinyl record. You had a gold record that was all spoken word. And that was my father's mentor. So I've had an opportunity to study all of these people and work on my own success journey. And it really led me to discover one thing. We know what to do. We know how to succeed. I mean, Andrew, if I say, what does it take to succeed? You're going to say, well, it's going to take hard work and persistence, and you got to know what you want and focus on your goals, blah, blah, blah. We all know. but not everybody's doing it. And so as a person who ultimately became a coach 20 years ago, I started coaching people on the phone. And as a person who became a coach, I started to get really agitated and depressed and angry and upset. Well, I'm teaching these people what to do, Andrew. They ain't doing it. Is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with them? Some people did some of what I did. Some did a lot. A lot of them did nothing. And I really began to see that there was a paradox here, that something that I call the success paradox. And that is that we resist what it takes to be successful. And when I saw that, when I saw what it was, and I began to investigate it, I discovered that we all have something in our head, and you know that we do. It's this negative self-talk, but I call it the drunk monkey. And when I began to talk to people about the drunk monkey, it connected immediately. When I began to say, hey, there's this drunk monkey in our head, and you say, hey, I want to go do this action, and it says, I don't know, it's probably not going to work. Why don't we check email instead? Or you say, hey, I want to go and call this person because it's going to move my life forward. And the drunk monkey says, they're going to reject you. It's never going to work. You're going to fall down. It's going to be embarrassing. You know what? Why don't we go do this? Let's go have some ice cream and sit on the couch and watch some TV instead. That drunk monkey, when I really began to investigate and understand the drunk monkey, it changed the whole course of my career. Prior to that, I taught people what to do to be successful. After that, I taught people how to tame the drunk monkey in our head to be successful.
And so is that drunk monkey that self-defeating talk that tells you that you can't do this, you can't do that, because if you do, then you'll experience this, which is pain?
That's exactly right. And what I've noticed is that people make that part of themselves wrong, but that part of you has been the game-changing aspect of our species. Andrew, if you and I were in a tribe years ago, thank God we had the limbic system, which is what this really is, the fight or flight mechanism in our brain. Thank God we had that. Because if we didn't, we wouldn't learn from our mistakes. We wouldn't go into situations, assess danger, and get away from them. Instead, we would die. So the problem is that today, each of us has to learn to evolve past what made sure that our ancestors would live. Because you and I, my friend, are not in a dangerous situation. Me going after my dream is not dangerous. Me calling up that girl and saying, hey, do you want to go out with me? That's not dangerous. And yet my heart rate goes up. I get all kinds of adrenaline in my body. I am pulled away from it by the drunk monkey.
It sounds like the drunk monkey is in control of our lives. So what can guys do to get a hold of this drunk monkey and start using it towards their advantage?
I think that the most important thing is to recognize it's a 4-step process. So step 1, you have to be aware that you even have a drunk monkey. Andrew, most people don't think they have a drunk monkey. They think that the talking in their head is them. They think the talking in their head is the truth and the reality of the situation. It's not the reality of the situation. The drunk monkey, the talking in your head, is literally an automatic system of assessing, categorizing, judging, and coming up with a decision. Is this going to move me towards pleasure, or is it going to move me away from pain? What should I do? It's rudimentary. It's automatic. It's not controlled by you. Have you ever been laying there at night and you can't get the damn thing to shut up?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, I've got to go to bed. And it's saying, yeah, but what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? How are we going to solve these problems? Right? And you're like, we're not solving these problems. I'm in my underwear. I'm in bed. The lights are out. Nobody's here. Shut up. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care what you want. It doesn't care about your goals and your dreams. It cares about assessing what is potentially comfortable or uncomfortable, moving towards the things that are comfortable, moving away from the things that are uncomfortable. And that's it. So the first step is awareness. All right. So the second step is flexibility. So once you are aware, you immediately become flexible. And flexibility is so important because what we have a tendency to do is react to potentially negative situations the same way over and over and over and over. So let's say I have a phone call to make that if I will make this phone call, it will make a huge difference in my ability to move my business forward, for example. Well, the drunk monkey comes in and starts telling me he's going to reject you. You aren't going to get what you want. You're not good enough. Who are you to even make this call? All of this stuff. If I can recognize that is nothing more than an automatic system designed to move me away from potential danger, in this case, embarrassment and failure, well, that awareness alone makes me flexible. Immediately, I see new options, and that is the third step, new options. So awareness leads to flexibility, which reveals new options, and options give you power. So once you have a whole new set of options, once you can do something new in the situation, you feel powerful. And it's probably easiest to understand the opposite. Sometimes we feel powerless. And when we feel powerless, we're actually experiencing the feeling of having no options. And so the way that you start to get control of the drunk monkey is by recognizing all of the things that the drunk monkey does. There's 12 what I like to call unconscious reflexes of the drunk monkey. And when you begin to understand what these 12 things are, my gosh, it begins to change your life in a way that is amazing. And really all there is to do is to start by understanding what the 12 are. Just knowing what the 12 are makes a big difference. And then the next step is to work on how do I bust the drunk monkey. So Andrew, should I tell you what the 12 are?
I think that would be good.
So you have forecasting the negative, protecting yourself from the unknown, avoiding making the same mistake twice, avoiding failure, avoiding embarrassment, following rules that don't exist in reality, holding others accountable to rules that don't exist in reality, illogical opinions with no basis in reality, which, by the way, are almost all opinions. I don't know if you know this or not, but did you know that the number one source of suffering is having an opinion? The desire to be right is number 9. The desire to fit in, the desire to be better than other people, and the desire to prove your worthiness. If you don't understand, if you can't see those 12 unconscious reflexes of the drunk monkey occurring, if you can't see them happening, then you're out of luck. Basically, if you don't see the drunk monkey trying to control your life, then you'll never be able to actually take conscious control of your life and live via your intention and your goals.
All right, so you've laid down a framework to how to identify this drunk monkey and then how to get control of this drunk monkey and use it towards your advantage so you can do the things that you want to do in life.
Truly.
And do you have a time in your life when you've encountered a huge challenge or failure and you used this framework?
Well, I remember the time that I put out a book. I put out this book called Creating Sales Velocity. And at the time, I was working for my father's real estate sales training company. And my father is one of those very, very powerful people who lives by the it's my way or the highway. And he has built this incredible business, and this business is based on the brand platform of hard work makes you money. And I am absolutely in alignment with hard work makes you money. But what I discovered in coaching thousands and thousands of people is that most people can't get themselves to do the hard work. So yes, hard work makes you money, but really what it is work is only hard when you relate to it as hard. Or another way of saying it is work is only hard because you label it. You resist it. You resist what it is. You make it wrong. Really, the drunk monkey does. The drunk monkey fears it, resists it, and then you label it hard. Well, I write this book about how to be in sales in this carefree, flowing, effortless fashion. My dad reads the book and has an absolute conniption fit and basically tells me that you can't be putting this book out. And it was really my thesis work. It was what I saw as I helped people implement his system, which is this phenomenal system. What I saw was most people couldn't sustain the hard work necessary, and what they needed to do was change their mindset so that they could take the work that was originally hard and make it effortless. Well, it didn't quite connect for him. He didn't really get it. And he demanded that I did not do this. And suddenly I felt I was in a pickle, because here I had this 7-figure job with him. So you can imagine I've got this lifestyle based on the 7-figure job, and I'm suddenly confronted that my life's work, the thing that I want to promote out there into the world, the thing that I think is the ticket, is suddenly being rejected. So I have to do something in order to deal with this. And really what we're talking about here is avoiding the worst case. So my particular drunk monkey began to forecast the negative. He's going to fire me. What am I going to do? This is a breach in my integrity. My brain started going crazy. The drunk monkey at night is telling me how I'm screwed. It's never going to work. You're never going to be able to put this out. Oh my God, this is terrible. And I'm going to lose everything. All of this nastiness. So I did what most top producers do sort of innately, but I did it because I had trained myself to deal with the drunk monkey. I began to look at the worst case scenario. I began to look at, okay, he fires me, now what? And I take myself through. I literally walk through, Andrew, the worst possible thing that could happen. And I mean, I did everything I could, everything in my power to assess what is the worst, the most terrible, the nastiest thing if I get fired, what would occur? And in the end, not only was it not bad, but I actually, at the end of the process, quit and started my own company to promote these kinds of ideas, because in the end, what I saw was that the worst case scenario that I was fearing was actually one of the best possible things that I could do in my life. So it is recognizing that the drunk monkey forecasts the negative. Think about it in this way. The drunk monkey actually believes that it's psychic, that it can tell the future, and it projects negative imagery. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Harvard did a study recently where they had people update an iPhone app on what was going on in their mood and in their mind throughout the day, and logging the activities that they were involved in and then what they were experiencing. And the researchers were just trying to understand the mind. But the thing that shocked them, the thing that blew them away, which was not a surprise to me at all, was that when the mind is idle, it defaults to the negative. It defaults to the negative. And we listen to our mind like it's our friend. So you have to catch it forecasting the negative. And then you have to utilize the technique of worst case scenario to put it back in its place. And really what we're talking about is moving from the back of your brain. So if you put your hand on the back of your head, you basically are putting your hand around the lizard brain, or what is called the limbic system. And the limbic system is fight or flight. So it's about getting you to take action quickly and getting you out of danger. What we want to do is move from this irrational reptilian part of our brain to the more rational human part of our brain. If you put your hand on your forehead, you're holding the prefrontal cortex. This is where logic, reason, and rational thinking occur. And when you begin to use the logic, reason, and rational thinking and move past fear quickly, but it will never happen if you don't address the root cause of our underperformance, which is the drunk monkey.
So this is really about taking control of your life. I mean, this is a challenge that everybody's experiencing. This isn't a male problem. This is a human problem. And this is about using more rational thought to come up with the best decisions possible that you can start taking action on to overcome your problems versus relying on a fight or flight response that wants to stay safe and avoid pain.
Exactly right.
So, Matthew, when did you come up with this? Was there a specific moment where this triggered and you're like, aha, this is it?
There was, yes. There was a light bulb moment. As I said, I was a songwriter and a producer early in my life. And in my 20s, I completely dropped that. And it wasn't until about age 27 that I started to fully realize, wait a second, my clients who I was coaching at the time are not fulfilling on their goals and dreams. They're making me promises and they're not keeping them. And I can see that it is this idea of the drunk monkey. It began to really start to form in my mind when I was 27. And I decided to do an experiment. I decided basically, okay, that's it. I'm going to actually take my passion for music and I'm going to utilize the techniques of the drunk monkey to get myself to do the things necessary to experience some success in the music business. Now, you need to understand, I had basically since age 20 taken my music writing down from writing 3, 4, 5, 6 songs in a month down to writing 1 song a year. I was totally out of touch with the music industry. I had no idea who was doing what, where, when, how, why. The industry was massively changing. This was when the internet was really starting to boom. And I decided, screw it. I'm just going to study. And every time I'm confronted by taking action, I'm going to use the techniques of the drunk monkey. Well, at age 27, I went from writing 1 song a year to writing 4 songs a month. And by the time we hit 1999, I'm just trying to think when that was. It was a couple years later. By the time we hit 1999, I had written a song that went to the Billboard charts, was there for 3 weeks at number 39. It was in the dance music genre. I had written a song with my songwriting partner, Roger Wade, and we wrote it for a now very famous DJ named Marcus Scholes. And we wrote a song called You Won't See Me Cry for Marcus Scholes, and it was a huge success. In fact, I'm still collecting royalty checks from that even today. I went on after that, created just a part-time music business. And every time I got confronted and every time the drunk monkey said, Matthew, you're a full-time coach and trainer and you've got a family and you're traveling all the time. It's so stupid. You can't start a music business. You can't do this. Well, over the years, since 1999, I've made far more than $500,000 part-time in the music business just because I've been able to control the drunk monkey and take the actions necessary to move it forward. Now, obviously, I have some talent, right? You can't be untalented and do things like that. But I know a lot of people with a lot of talent who ain't doing nothing.
So they don't know how to control their drunk monkey yet.
They haven't learned to control their drunk monkey and utilize their true power and gifts.
And so if they learn to control their drunk monkey, would they then become happier at work, in their relationships? Like, what are the benefits?
Oh, my gosh. It's just phenomenal. So if you go to my website, I have a free course there called 7 Steps to Happiness and Success. And what I've noted over the years is that you can get to a certain amount of business success through your hard work, effort, diligence, skill, systems, all of that. But ultimately, people don't experience success unless they have some happiness, some contentment, some satisfaction. And what I've found is if we can get you happier, more fulfilled, more satisfied, you automatically attract that perfect mate. So many of my clients are super successful men who have not attracted that perfect mate into their life because they are so driven to be successful. And one of the first things I work with them on is getting into a happy, joyous, peaceful, loving state. Well, next thing you know, they're dating, they've got, women around them. And I'm happy to say that most of the men that I have worked with over the years who are single have found the one and gotten married and on. And it really started with getting into a happy place, learning basically to recognize that they have illogical opinions about everything in their life, and that their opinions really are the source of their suffering, and that their opinions are nothing more than a survival mechanism, that they're trying to look smart and look good. And the problem is that often looking smart and looking good is going to rob you of being present and being fulfilled and being satisfied. Because you can't be smart and look good at all times. It's just not going to work.
Okay, and what do you think about, guys who are unsure of their purpose? How can guys find their purpose? I mean, you can be present and you can really be happy, but if you're not working towards something greater than yourself, I feel like something's missing there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this idea of having a purpose is absolute crap. So I have worked endlessly to discover what my purpose is, and to no avail, because I'm interested and curious about so many different things. And I have done thousands of hours of work with top people in the world to help them find their purpose, to no avail, because they are so curious and interested in so many different things. And what I've found is the way to experience a profound rootedness or contentment in your life is to recognize that you're here to have experiences, and to actually do the work to discover, well, what experiences are important to me? And there's really three questions that people need to ask themselves to start to investigate this. So, for example, if we just take a goal, and would you be willing to do an authentic share with your audience on this? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Sure, go ahead.
Let's take your goal with this podcast. Can we do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So your goal with it, what's important to you? First of all, what is the goal with this podcast? What's the ultimate goal here? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, the goal is to inspire millions of men around the world, to give them content they've never seen before, and to help them live better.
So what's important? And now let's just back it. What's important to you about having those listeners, the high impact people on the show who are making a difference for millions of people? What's important to you about that?
I think it makes me happy, and it sure beats the hell out of what I was doing before. And I really feel passionate about the work I do and being able to contribute to other men.
And what I want you to do, though, is I want you to just get real honest with us. So you've got a lot of great speakers on here, people who are having a huge impact. The audience is being impacted. But what does that do for you?
It really just boils down to happiness. I mean, that's going to be it.
So one of the things that you want to do is you want to start to notice the questions. What's important about this? I just ask that question over and over and over. What's important about, you take a goal that you have. So let's take somebody who is wanting to have success, for example, on Wall Street. What's important to you about having success on Wall Street? And they might say, well, I want to make a lot of money. And you say, great. How is making a lot of money important to you? What's important about making a lot of money? And they say, well, I want to be able to buy the things I want to buy. I want to do the things I want to do. I want to be able to go where I want to go. I want that freedom to be able to experience whatever I want. And you say, okay, great. So then you say, ultimately, the money, the freedom, do what you want, all of that, ultimately, what will all of that do for you? And it's at that time they come up with questions, with answers like, well, it'll just make me feel good. Great. Make me happy. Fantastic. It'll give me a sense of adventure. Whatever it is, they'll have some word or words that describe it. Then the question becomes, how do you orient your life so that you are experiencing that all the time, no matter what you're doing. In other words, can you learn how to pick up dog poop in the backyard and be experiencing the thing you want to experience in life? And the answer is yes, if you learn that the drunk monkey resists almost everything. If you learn how to see the drunk monkey making up stories and avoiding making mistakes that aren't even mistakes and protecting you from things that are not even dangerous and trying to avoid embarrassing situations that are nothing more than fantasies in your head, following rules that don't even exist, holding other people accountable to rules that don't exist. That is one of the biggest things that screws people up. We're walking around thinking, let's just take our relationship to some of the trouble that we're having in the Middle East. We're in this conflict in America with some of the countries and the people in the Middle East. We're operating as if they have the same beliefs as us. We're operating as if they have the same desires as us, and they just don't. And if we would take the time to understand what their beliefs and what their desires are, then we might have a little easier time coming to some kind of agreement. But instead, we want to impose our way on them, and they want to impose their way on us. And of course, that is the source of conflict and strife. Opinions are what is getting in our way in our world. And if we can let it go, life gets a lot better, a lot faster.
And so letting go is a part of controlling that drunk monkey, because it's in your head, the whole living in the past. Or
Absolutely. And why? Because if you can see the drunk monkey resisting things that don't warrant resistance, when you let your resistance go, you're immediately joyous and happy. Let's say you're at a party. You're at a party and they're playing music that you normally don't like. Well, here's the thing. You chose to come to the party. You can focus on the one thing about the party that isn't to your liking and complain and bitch and moan and be pissed off and make sarcastic comments, which is what people typically do, which only makes you miserable, you're upset, you agitate the people around you, you are annoyed, you're annoying yourself, not the music. The music's doing whatever it's doing. You're annoying yourself. So if you step back and go, oh, there's the drunk monkey trying to keep me safe from this music. It is trying to impose a set of rules on the people in charge of the music that don't exist. I'm not even in charge of the music, yet I'm resisting it. The music is here whether I want it to be or not. So I can suffer, or I can put my attention elsewhere. Why don't I put my attention on how wonderful the people are that I came with? Why don't I engross myself in conversations? Why don't I see if I can contribute and make a difference to the people that I came to this party with? Why don't I see if I can meet some new people? So you can't do that if you're in the automatic unconscious reflexes of the drunk monkey.
And in that situation, I would just say do what you can with what you have. And what you have is you can be present and you can add value to other people's lives in that event or anywhere you are. I mean, it's really all you can do, and literally just be present, add value, and listen to other people, and you're going to have a good time and people are going to enjoy your company. All right, Matthew, it's now time that we enter the knowledge round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Have you ever tried to set up a website and just give up? Did you get overwhelmed? Was there just so much content available that you just put that project aside? Well, Squarespace makes it easy to quickly get a professional site up and running so you can focus on doing the things that you like doing and not coding. Squarespace is constantly improving their platform with new features, new designs, and even better support. They have beautiful designs for you to start with and all the style options you need to create a unique website for your personal taste and brand. It's incredibly easy to use, and if you need support, I know Squarespace has an amazing support team that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They even have a great support team with over 100 employees. I guess in New York City, the office has been codenamed the Care Bear Lair. And that's not it, guys. You can get started for as little as $8 a month, and this includes a free domain name if you sign up for a year. It's a great deal, and that includes hosting, you guys. Every design automatically includes a unique mobile experience that matches the overall style of your site. So your content will look great on every device every time. That's really big, guys. Mobile is the future. If you sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use offer code KNOWLEDGE to get 10% off something that I worked out for you guys on your first purchase and to show support for Knowledge for Men. Again, that's offer code KNOWLEDGE.
Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime.
Matthew, how would you explain becoming happy to someone who's feeling sad or depressed?
Well, I would say that your mood is not a function of your circumstances, and that there are people who are in fact clinically depressed, and you should always go to your doctor and find out, take some tests, see if your body is producing the chemicals necessary for happiness, because some people don't actually have those chemicals being produced, and some kind of medical help can really, really help. But for most of us, most of the people that I come across, it really is that your happiness is a function of your opinion, that you have never taken control of your life, and you have been pretending that you're a victim of the circumstances, as if the circumstance itself is making you miserable, and it's not making you miserable. Your opinion about the situation makes you miserable. So you haven't taken the time to examine what you say to yourself, or what the drunk monkey says to you about your life. And the moment you step back and examine what the drunk monkey says, and you take notes and you write it down and you get clear, you start to see, my gosh, there's an insane person in my head who is not connected to reality. And the moment you get to that place is the moment you say, well, what do I want to focus on? What do I want my life to be? How do I want to feel? And then immediately new options open up that give you the possibility of feeling something other than a negative feeling. You have the capacity for feeling positive. In fact, joy is your natural state. So anything other than joy is nothing more than a state of mind. And one has to learn how to get through the state of mind in order to be happy.
Very good. And Matthew, what was holding you back from becoming the successful man that you are today?
What held me back was very simply what holds most people back. I thought that success was going to be a destination. And I kept achieving certain levels of success. Let's say in the beginning, it was a little baby version of success. It was a fraction of success, but I wasn't able to acknowledge it. I was mad that it wasn't what I wanted it to be, that it should be more. And I would beat myself up. And as I beat myself up, I slowed myself down because I was getting down on myself. And it wasn't me. The drunk monkey automatically was beating me up because the drunk monkey doesn't like me. The drunk monkey wants me to be better and to improve because it concluded early on in my life, and everyone's does. It concluded early on in my life that I wasn't any good and that I didn't fit in and that other people were better than me and that other people are more advantaged than I am. And so it spends its time basically both proving that I am that I'm no good and I don't fit in and other people are better than me, as well as resisting it and getting mad that it exists. And so even a little bit of success is met with the thought process that this is not it. You're not there yet. Come on, Matthew Ferry. You need to pick yourself up and go farther. This is you're happy with this? You're a loser. You only have that, right? These kinds of thoughts actually slow you down and stop you from being an attractive, effective, resourceful, creative person, which is what it takes to be successful.
All right, and on to the next question. Matthew, what's the best advice you've ever received from a mentor?
The best advice that I've ever received from a mentor would have to be from Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote the book Power versus Force. And David Hawkins basically said that you must learn to accept each and every person that you come in contact with exactly as they are. And when you do, you will be in a state of non-resistance. And when you're in a state of non-resistance, the beauty of each person becomes instantly present for you. And the perfection of the situation becomes instantly present for you. And that beauty and that perfection are inspiring. And when you're inspired, you will live a life that is by your choice and by your design. So that you've got to start with total and complete acceptance of all people in all situations at all times, including yourself.
I think that's the hardest one too. And on to the next question. What are your 3 most influential books and why?
3 most influential books for me, probably number 1 most influential book is going to be The Eye of the I by Dr. David Hawkins. So it's EYE, Eye of the I, the letter I, by Dr. David Hawkins. That's probably my number 1 most influential book that I've ever read in my entire life. The number 2 most influential book that I've read, and I actually listened to this on audio instead of reading the book. I'm a little more of an audio guy myself. It is a book by Stuart Wilde called Infinite Self. And Infinite Self blew me out of the water because it gave me 33 very basic steps to live in a state of ease and flow. And then probably the next most influential book for me is going to be The Strangest Secret. And The Strangest Secret is by Earl Nightingale. And that's sort of one of those foundational books. That was actually the original Strangest Secret was a set of recordings that he released on record, like I had said at the beginning, literally vinyl record that became the first spoken word gold record. And so those are my 3 most influential books for me.
Yeah, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale it's truly a gem. It's packed with so much good content in such a short amount of time. I think it was really ahead of its time when it first came out in the 50s. I think I've listened to it at least 25, 30 times.
Me too.
And on to the next question. Matthew, what's one action one person can take right now that would get them closer towards their goals?
Well, it really is it's a 2-part thing, okay? The first thing is to write for yourself a prophecy, to write a letter to yourself, standing on a date in the future. Let's say it's 5 years out. Standing on that date and writing a letter to your friends and family, dear friends and family. It's December 31st, 2020. And I am so excited to tell you about what has occurred this year and to keep you up to date on the journey that I've experienced in my life, and to literally go through and prophesize about the future that you see and that you want to create. And then the next step in that process is to learn how to deal with the drunk monkey that is basically going to say, that's a bunch of crap, Andrew. You're never going to achieve that. I don't even know why you write it. It's so stupid. It's never going to happen. You got to, A, know what you want, and then B, be able to deal with the inner resistance, because the resources for your success are all around you. You don't need to worry about how am I going to succeed. You need to worry about, can I get myself to do the things that other people will teach me and show me to do to succeed? If you want to succeed, it's no problem. There are plenty of ways for you to succeed. The bigger question is, what do you want, and can you get yourself to do it?
That is the biggest question of all, isn't it? And I have a scenario for you, Matthew. Imagine you woke up and you were 20. What would you do, and what would you do differently?
I would basically apply the techniques of fearlessness of the drunk monkey to my music business in a full court press. And I suspect I would probably end up being some kind of public speaker, consultant, someone who is helping people and giving advice. I suspect I probably would have ended up that way anyway. But one of the things that I absolutely would have done differently is gone full court press on living the dream that I had in the creative zone. Now, I'm living it to a degree now, but I have my life designed to be, let's call it 80% author, speaker, coach, advisor, and 20% music business. So I'd probably reverse those if I got to go back and be 20 again.
And getting deep now, if you had to write your obituary, what would it say?
It would say, here lies Matthew Ferry, and it was absolutely a blast for him to be on Earth. We're so thankful that he taught us how to deal with our minds so that we can all live the life that we truly deserve to live.
I like that. And Matthew, what's your philosophy on life?
What is my philosophy on life? It is very much a carpe diem kind of philosophy. It is very simply that you can do, be, and have anything that you are willing to envision, write down, create the structure for, learn the skills to make it happen, and then, deal with the chaos, upsets, breakdown, and disasters that come with taking on anything new in your life. All creation is destructive. So one of my philosophies is really riding the waves of destruction and creation and recognizing that there are going to be times when I'm flying high and loving life, and there's going to be times when I'm down and things aren't working the way that I want them to work, and that's okay. There's going to be times when I come up against barriers and challenges, and those are just part of the process. You just got to stay with it and keep working through it, and it'll all turn out.
And Matthew, as we're coming to a close here, do you have any parting piece of guidance for all the listeners today?
Yes. Success is a series of well-managed breakdowns. Success is literally, the breakdown is the beginning of success. So the bigger the breakdown, the bigger the success possibility. But remember what Napoleon Hill said. He said that really your disasters and failures are the seed of equivalent benefit. So anything that is a disaster for you, it has the potential to become the equal benefit. But it's only the seed. You have to nurture that seed. And the way you nurture that seed is by creating the conditions in your life to be a effective, successful, powerful man. And the only way you're going to do that is by taking on acceptance, kindness, generosity, being peaceful, being open, being flexible. These kinds of things are absolutely necessary when you are creatively taking on life.
I like that. I like that a lot. And Matthew, what's exciting you today? What wakes you up in the morning?
I'm currently working on a very, very specific training for overcoming the drunk monkey that is completely online based, and it really takes on the 12 unconscious reflexes of the drunk monkey and takes you through the process of overcoming them. So if you have a mind that is constantly telling you that the future is going to be bleak and it's going to be bad, I give you the process for basically putting that to rest once and for all and quieting the drunk monkey in your head so that you can succeed.
All right. And Matthew, go ahead and give yourself a plug so the audience can connect with you.
Well, one thing that you should definitely do is go to MatthewFerry.com and sign up for my free e-course there called 7 Steps to Happiness and Success. And Matthew Ferry is 2 T's and 2 R's, MatthewFerry.com. So if you type in Matthew Ferry, you'll find me, no problem. I'd love to be a support of you and help you to achieve more happiness, more fulfillment, more satisfaction by overcoming the insanity of the drunk monkey so that you can take on being a more successful person.
All right, Matthew, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing some of your life lessons and your story and really just helping us understand the drunk monkey.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's going to wrap up episode 32 with Matthew Ferry. And guys, I'm looking for some guest writers, some guest posters. If you have gone through some transformational story or you have some major challenge or failure that you overcame, or you built a business and you had to struggle and finally you made it, and anything else too, anything else that would really just has some solid life lessons inside of it, shoot me an email at andrew@knowledgeformen.com. I'd like to chat with you. Not saying you have to do anything, but anyways, I would still like to chat with you. All right, guys, that'll do it.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast show. It's been a pleasure having you be a part of a thriving community of men who want to crush it in all aspects of life. I'm on a mission here to inspire millions of guys, and with your help, we're gonna make a dent in the universe. Check out knowledgeformen.com for a ton of free content that's designed to help you live a remarkable life. Again, that's knowledgeformen.com. I hope to see you there, and always remember, 2014 is the official year of the crush, where we take action to get the life we've always dreamed of. This is your host, Andrew Ferry, and until next time, let's do it.